everyone. The best way to ever start a podcast is with the popping of a cork of Tasmanian sparkling wine. Carlos is now pouring me a glass of Devil's Corner. What is the sparkling we've got?
So, well, they call it the premium cuvée, Devil's Corner, so fruits and, Tasmania. So, sparkling wine, actually, they say from Yarra Valley, the fruit. Let's try it. I mean...
Well, we should say hello and welcome. And welcome to Tasmania. We are in the Apple Isle, Carlos Santos. We have been invited to Devil's Corner, where you find us today. It looks different if you're watching this on YouTube or our socials. That's because it is different. We flew here yesterday. What's the place we're staying in, Carlos?
Bicheno area. So it's East Coast Tasmania.
Went to a lobster shack yesterday.
So delicious.
And do you know what I love about it? It was a master sommelier who works in fine dining, eating off plastic trays, lobsters off plastic trays.
Yes, but no, actually the lobster was in the shell.
It was in the
plastic
shell.
Tray, okay?
Yeah,
but,
Carlos was like, we would never serve this in the shell because, part of fine dining is the presentation, whereas they're just like, here's high quality food we caught today.
That was the best. That was the best in a while, It is, such a simple little place. But then what about the views?
Oh my God, this place is stunning. The moment we got off our tiny little plane and took a step onto Launceston Airport, I know it sounds obvious and it's iconic for Tasmania, but the place smells and feels different.
Definitely,
A slight temperature change to Melbourne. We had our jackets and jumpers on. I look like a young Steve Jobs. I've got a skivvy on at the moment, long sleeve. Carlos has got a shirt and jacket. In our hot little studio, we would never be seen.
Yeah, no,
You would have sweat beading down your face if you were wearing that outfit. Amazing to be here, and the opportunity for Devil's Corner to invite us here to try some of their wines for the podcast. That means a lot. It's pretty special. So that's where this episode comes from. Two things to excuse, some pickups. I have a cold sore. Let's just not point out the obvious. I've made it obvious. So please, in the comments, yes, there's not tomato sauce on my face. It's a cold sore. It's herpes. Thank you. And secondly, yes, I have grown my hair longer and I will attempt to not touch it as much in the episode. Did you hear about this?
I did hear about it, yes.
So we had multiple, I'm talking 5 people say, hey, Angus, stop touching your hair during the podcast episodes. For people who listen to this purely, this doesn't interest you, but apparently I have a habit of pushing my hair back because it's newly long.
You do that a bit, yes.
I do that a bit. All right. Well, there's the basics. We are here to try 6.
The person in the comments was me.
Your burner account?
It's like, Angus, stop doing it.
Yeah, okay. So we are going to kickstart 6 bottles of wine here at Devil's Corner. We're so excited to be here. We're so thankful. Hopefully we capture some of the images or imagery of this place for you guys online. But yeah, a big thank you to Devil's Corner and Liquid Ideas for having us here.
Very, very exciting. So beautiful.
Yeah, cheers.
So beautiful. Cheers.
How good is this? Woo! A lot of green apple on that.
Green apple, refreshing, zesty, zingy.
Yeah.
High acidity. But almost a little sweet. Almost a little sweet green apple. It's not a super dry glass of sparkling wine, which, for local, I think with the oysters, or with the lobster that we had last night. Pretty refreshing, but again, not totally dry, I would say. But also it's not traditional method. Here's the thing. This is made by a process called the Chardonnay method. So, which is actually made into pressurized tanks with carbon dioxide added into the tank and then bottled from there, So it's a way faster process to making sparkling wines. So hence it hasn't that really fine bubble and autolysis like that toasty and biscuity brioche aromas that you find in champagne, for example. So this is a much more straightforward sparkling wine, I would say.
I have to say something a little bit dangerous.
What are you going to say?
I'm in the mood.
You in the mood? Yeah.
Oh, I'm in the mood.
You're in the mood, yeah. Oh, yeah, I can see. You
It's
finished your first glass of sparkling wine.
You know what I mean? Like it's.
Do I need to catch up with you?
No. You do your Master Somm stuff. I'll just do the punter stuff over here. But this is lovely. Can you, for you being a person from the old world, obviously champagne would be something that, you grow up on as a Master Somm. It's something you well across. But for something like a sparkling, how do you think it compares to other countries that obviously aren't creating champagne because it has to come from the region? And where do we as Australia and, this glass of Devil's Corner Premium Cuvée stack up?
I would, instead of comparing to champagne, because, as I said earlier, it's not a champagne method or the traditional method, second fermentation in a bottle. So I would compare this more to, for example, Prosecco. This to me is more Prosecco style, in which it's not super complex. I mean, it's the nature of the sparkling wine, of this sparkling wine. It's more refreshing, it's more zesty, more zangy, like, there's high acidity, more fruity, rather than that toast and biscuit and brioche that you find in champagne. So for me, it's more a Prosecco style, if you like. So that's why, with the oysters and with the seafood, this or, in the park outside and this beautiful view, just sit outside there in the garden and have a bottle of this, easy, no problem,
For me, I think of sparkling as well as kind of like a palate cleanser, because it's not so floral or so like flavor forward that's the focus on your palate. For me, like right now, I feel like my mouth's quite fresh and ready for something else. Or if I was in a food, I could now go from oysters to having a sip, couple of minutes, and now I can try some cheese and get the full experience out of everything.
Definitely. It's a very, it's an aperitif style. I would say it's an aperitif style and really refreshing. I mean, it is what it is. I don't think it's overly complex, but it's really delicious if you're sitting outside in a park or, you're having a picnic or it's perfect. It's a perfect way to start for sure.
Well, let's move on. Let's get the Riesling.
Absolutely.
Up next. Ooh. So what are we looking for before we try it? Tasmania, cold climate, Riesling. What are sort of the markers we're expecting before actually trying it?
I mean, with Riesling, you would always expect high acidity anyway. So high acidity, lower-ish in alcohol, very fruit forward, always a little bit primary. I mean, unless you got into a much older bottle of wine, 5, 10, 15 years, becomes more kerosene, petrol, etc.
Yeah.
So what we're expecting is more, this is a 2020. So it's still a lot of apple, pear, a little bit of panna cotta perhaps, a little spearmint could be, floral, white floral, cassia, jasmine, depending on the aromatics as well. But that's more or less what we would expect. Now, hopefully we have that and more. Yeah.
All right, on the nose.
So this is East Coast, is a Riesling from the East Coast of Tasmania. That's where we are, in Bicheno. Granitic soils, so that also could influence a little bit the wine, with that sense of freshness and minerality, a little saltiness even.
Mm-hmm. All right. On the nose.
What'd you pick?
There's like a, kind of like a passion fruit. Tradition, like the obvious green apple is there. But
green apple, green pear.
There's something like, kind of like
a little bit
fruity,
a little bit honeyed, a little ginger.
Something different in there, which I love.
A little saffron.
For me, it's actually opening up a passion fruit and the seeds of a passion fruit. I'm actually getting that, which is weird. I know it's a Riesling.
No, but passion fruit is good. Passion fruit is you can find passion fruit in Riesling for sure. It feels like on the nose. Feels like there's a little bit of botrytis, it doesn't mean that it's going to be sweet, but it just feels like there's a little bit of that honeyed note and saffron, ginger. The passion fruit is pretty good, which may indicate that the fruit, may have seen a little bit of botrytis sometimes
which is called noble rot.
Yes, noble rot.
Which sounds like it's a bad thing, but when you have yourself a glass of that noble one, dessert wine,
that
you're very thankful for the existence of botrytis.
Definitely, which could be possible. But then again, it's fermented to dry, so it is a dry wine. He actually reached 13%, so that's pretty for Riesling is fairly high in alcohol.
Oh, I was gonna say the acid. The acid comes late. This is like a.
Ooh.
That's interesting, right?
Yeah, I'll
say the acid is medium plus. but it's a late build. It's kind of like, do you know when you eat a chicken wing that's got like spice on it and you're like, oh, that wasn't too bad. And it kicks in a little late. The acid's now for sure producing saliva in my mouth.
Woo. Yeah, it's pretty high. And
but it's a
grapefruit, a lot of grapefruit.
Grapefruit.
Yeah, grapefruit on a palate is super sharp.
Just a study of my friends, Riesling is not a table wine that people want me to bring over.
Really?
If I bring a bottle of Riesling and a bottle of Chardonnay,
they will go for
as
Chardonnay.
An experiment, I'll leave them both on the table. I'm telling you, Chardonnay will be gone. Riesling will be just to the neck of the bottle.
Riesling can also be quite versatile from very dry wines to very sweet wines. But I think it's just the freshness of Riesling that I really, really love. I think it's probably my favorite white grape variety. Riesling and Semillon, I think I love them a lot. But it's, I mean, I understand why. Because I think a perception of Riesling with people is that this is sweet wine. Every now and then, even in the restaurant, when people goes like, oh, what do you recommend? Oh, yeah, I recommend you this Riesling. Oh, Riesling, no, it's too sweet. No, this is actually a dry Riesling. Ever try? And then yeah, people surprised like, oh, I didn't know Riesling can be dry. So sometimes it's that misunderstanding as well of the grape, which is so delicious. I mean, Riesling is so lovely. Like,
I love Riesling.
Yeah,
I
same.
love Riesling. The thing about this is I know that my partner Emily doesn't watch this. So please don't message her. This can be our secret. Emily will watch the first 5 minutes of an episode so she knows what I'm wearing, what we're drinking, and so then she can give me some sort of broad comment when I get home on a Friday. She'll be like, oh my God, I got some today. It looks awesome. Oh my gosh, you wore that skivvy. And then she feels like, then I feel supported. So I love her for that. But I know she doesn't listen. And let me say this, because we're like 15 minutes into the podcast. So I know she's not here. I buy nice, expensive Rieslings because I know that Emily's not going to have any and I can have the whole bottle. So that's my new tactic. Emily, Chardonnay, yep.
Yeah, that's
100%.
Yeah, I remember that, yeah.
For days, loves Gamay. Shiraz, we're getting a bit too heavy for her, but she'll have a glass. Cab Sav is a big no.
Big no, yeah.
So for me, my areas of play, Cab Sav, Riesling. Invest high and invest heavy. Put them into the cellar, bring them out. Oh, what are you having? I'm having a Riesling. No,
okay, I'll pass it today.
I'll pass.
Yeah.
And then I get to enjoy the fruits of my intelligence. All right, let's move on to the said Chardonnay.
I think just a little quick point on the Riesling. It's how they make it is stainless. Well, I mean, unless it changed, because we from reading the notes on the website is that they do everything tank fermentation, so off the lees straight away. So fermented, free run juice fermented on tank. So it's meant to be a really zesty, really crisp style of Riesling. And then yes, I think a lot of CO2 to preserve. And I think it's changed already the glass after like swirl it properly a little bit. It becomes more fruit driven again. And it shows a little bit more, yeah.
All right, so as Devil's Corner is obviously in Tasmania, this cold climate, I am interested to see how their Chardonnay comes. I don't know if it's got any oak.
Buttery, yeah.
Oh, buttery. So we've got oak influence.
Super buttery, yeah.
So this is their resolution range once again.
Yeah, so the Chardonnay is from the Azad's vineyard as well. So it's and I mean, like when you see on a video and when we show you the location where we are, you see these huge mountains of granitic rock. And that's where the Chardonnay comes from. 63% from the Azad's vineyard, and then from the Cayena vineyard as well, which is in Yarra Valley, so up north. And they mix the fruits from both.
So the
2021,
like you said, big oak influence on the nose. It's got that like very,
you smell that, yeah,
very buttery Chardonnay edge.
Yeah,
which when I poured it, it doesn't. Oh, it does on the glass. The legs are quite full. But when I poured it into the glass, it looked like it kind of. This might sound stupid, but do you know when you pour a Chardonnay, you get that glug, 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 whereas Riesling, it feels like a waterfall, like it's just thin. It feels like thin and thick water. This felt thin going into the glass. But now that it's here...
Funny enough, it's lower alcohol than the Riesling. That's almost a little uncommon. This is 12.5% of alcohol, so it's actually a little bit lighter in style. Nose is very creamy, very buttery, very oaky, and they do use 30% new oak, between 15 and 30% new oak, depending on the vintage. Barrel fermentation and 100% malolactic. So yeah, you expect that buttery, creamier, and oaky style. The I mean the tears on the glass, they really stick. But then again, it's only 12.5%, so it's almost a little misleading, because when you smell this, oh my goodness, like it's an old school Chardonnay. Yeah?
Super.
Mm.
Yeah, the acid's surprisingly high though. You know what I mean?
Medium plus. It's pretty high, as in like is up there, but is up there, but with backed up with a full bodied like texture, like a lot of creaminess, a lot of buttery, vanilla. Sweet spice, a lot of sweet spice. So there's a lot of influence of oak, which in my opinion feels just about to getting integrated into the wine. Is what, 21?
Yes. Yeah.
So yeah, two years wine is integrating. Is still not fully, in my opinion, fully balanced, but he's getting there, and he's getting more and more.
So can you talk through what is the balance need for you? What, when you talk about that, the balance not there, what is it for you when you're trying this, that 2 years more in the cellar is going to be a better blend?
I think it's just a mixture of the sweet spice, the vanilla, the mixture of almost a little tropical note as well, pineapple, and the creaminess, the butteriness. When everything comes beautifully harmonized in the glass, that's when the wine will be ready. So yeah, I feel like right now I feel almost I don't want to say disjointed, but you feel the oak, you feel the fruit, you feel it a little bit separated. A few more years, 1 or 2 more years, 3 more years, it will just all balance, integrate a little bit more, become a little bit smoother. There's no really rules, as to when. Some wines are a little bit earlier, some wines are a little bit later. I mean, this at the end of the day is a premium range. So yeah, it just needs a little bit more time, in my opinion.
Great to have Riesling. Great they got Chardonnay. The sparkling was an amazing way to kick off the podcast. But I'm here for the Pinot, baby. When I think about Tasmania, I think about cold climate. I want to try some sweet ass Pinot. I want my mouth to be taken on a floral, delicate journey. I want to be on an adventure. And yes, I did finish my 3 glasses of wine in quick succession. But let's get into this, Carlos.
Let's
what are
get
we trying
it, yeah,
first? What's
absolutely.
our first? We've got 2 different Pinots to try.
Three, one with Syrah. So first one.
Oh, Pinot Syrah.
Pinot Syrah, yeah. Yeah, that's a very interesting one. I mean, we see more and more of that blend in Vitoria, for example. Yarra Valley, there's a few good producers doing it. You just mix the best of something fruity, floral, delicate Pinot Noir with the peppery, spicy of the Syrah. So.
Well, it feels like there's a sort of brick garnet edge. I have no idea what year this is, and I can't even still see on the bottle. This sort of. Do you see that? Like, look at that against the light.
Definitely. If you put it again, I'm putting it against a white page that I have here.
You can see it, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit of brick color. If I were to, if someone gives me this a blind tasting and I go just by the color, I would almost go like, oh, we Northern Italy maybe, Nebbiolo, this brick color and stuff, or a little bit more aged Pinot Noir, of course. But this is just by the color, because when you smell Pinot Noir. It
smells like Pinot Noir.
It smells like Pinot Noir.
Yeah.
And I mean,
this smells like exactly what I expect Aussie Pinot Noir to smell like.
The fruit is fresh, but almost a little candied, a little sweet, ripened fruit.
Nice.
Without it's cool climate, obviously, but it's the fruit has a beautiful ripeness to it, though. Not the super fresh strawberry or raspberry or cranberry, savory, mouth watering. This is a little ripe strawberry, ripe cranberry aroma. Quite floral, a lot of roses. A lot of roses aroma in this wine. And even a little bit of oaky as well, a mixture of clove and nutmeg.
This is nice,
So
Carlos.
these guys also use a bit of oak in his wine. Actually, from smelling it, you can tell.
So this is from their Resolution range.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to try next their more exclusive range, the Hazard range, which is available only in Cellador and here. So I'm excited to see the difference. Already my mouth is watering as I speak from the acid.
This is lovely. Yeah, this is lovely.
Do you know what we should do?
Do side by side? No.
I love that. And yes. But our partners are arriving in 40 minutes. At the end of the podcast, let's get them to try some of the wines and give like 5-second reviews. Let's get them to sip each one and give a little 5-second review.
And which one do they prefer? Yeah.
Yeah. Let's do that.
Yeah.
Stay to the end of the episode. Will your partner be on?
They are like babies because they're more honest,
100%.
They it's like babies so honest.
Emily sips a wine, my partner, and goes, nah, not for me.
That's it.
Will your partner come on?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's do it. At the end of this episode, stay tuned for our partners trying these wines as well.
All right. So you have them by order. Try not to mix them.
Okay.
It's important to keep them on the same line.
So my Resolution is on the left.
That's it.
Then the Hazards range is middle.
That's
and
the
then
Hazards
the Pinot
Noir.
Syrah
Correct.
on the edge.
Absolutely.
Got it.
The Pinot Syrah is actually interesting because he doesn't differ too much in color. Maybe just a touch more purple or ruby.
Yeah, it's definitely more ruby.
A little bit more ruby, but still very, very light extraction.
Yeah.
Like there's no...
Well, Syrah being obviously Shiraz, the old world way of saying Shiraz, you expect it to be darker than this, right?
A little bit,
Do you know
definitely.
what the percentage is of Pinot versus Syrah?
It's 40% Syrah.
Okay.
40% Syrah, so it's
it does
still a majority.
It does look like a Pinot dominant wine.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah. How are you assessing this?
Which one? The last one?
I don't know. What are you doing now?
No, I will go.
You want to stick
first.
on Resolution?
Yeah, stick with the Resolution to start with. Because he's definitely that more. He's the middle range basically. They have a core range, which is the first go, and then they have the Resolution, and then the Hazards range, which is the premium stuff.
Okay.
So I think starting here with the Resolution, actually really nice on a palate. Very lovely freshness. Lifted acidity. I wouldn't say super high. It's not a high acidity wine, but lifted acidity. The ripeness of the fruit is more pronounced on the nose than on the palate. On the palate feels a little bit fresher, but also again because of that lifted acidity. The clove, the nutmeg again, oak influence. I think they use about 17% on this one. New oak, French oak, and really balanced. I think is more balanced than. I'm enjoying so much more the reds so far, starting with Resolution, than I enjoyed the whites, for example, to be truthfully honest. Yeah.
I'm going to try the Hazards range, Pinot Noir. Darker in color. It doesn't have that sort of sense of clay brick or age, garnet edge. What year is it's a 2018, 16?
2018. No,
2018. I need to get my eyes checked. 2018, so it's got a couple more years.
But it's much more concentrated. On the nose, it's way more concentrated. There's a lot more earthy, more wet earth, more. I think this is closer to Burgundy, closer to like a village Burgundy or something like this. Definitely more old world style. You see, like. With wine, with the Resolution, it feels riper fruit on the nose, a little bit more candied red fruit, while with the Hazards, it smells much fresher, much more organic fruit.
I don't know the price difference between the two. Do you have any idea?
I think $70 for the Hazards and about $34 for the Resolution.
Okay. Do you think it's fair if something is $25 and something's $50, it has to be twice as good? Or because they're fundamentally the same thing, the base is like 60%, you're just paying for these small increment changes in balance and better, if that makes sense? Because I think a lot of people would go from a pricing perspective, if I'm buying a bottle of wine for $15 and now I'm spending $30. I expect this $30 wine to be twice as good as the 15, but really you're only paying for a small. But this is important if you love wine. Because if you can't tell the difference between a $15, $30 and a $50 bottle of wine, then maybe don't spend it. But it's not a double. It's not twice as good, but it is better. Does that make sense? I'm probably rambling a bit.
No, you're doing well. I mean, I think when it comes to this type of wine, imagine resolution. They may have a lot of fruit that is machine harvested, for example, versus the hazards is handpicked. So that on its own already, it's much more selective. Handpicked is much more selective grapes than there is on a machine harvesting. So that's straight away one huge influence. And then is also the oak usage. If it's 17% versus 30%, for example, or 50% or 100% new oak. So obviously that's that huge cost. And then sometimes when the wine is made and bottled, the difference does not come straight away on the taste when you open the bottles of wine, but also on the longevity of the wines. So let's say that the resolution may go for another 4 or 5 years and be delicious at $34, $35 now, and is more ready to drink now, and is not a wine that you would want to age for a very long time. While the hazards at 2018 now, it's already 2 years older than the previous wine, and but may have a huge more potential, and it will keep evolving in the bottle and improving year after year. So the value may be as well on the age when you actually drink the wine, if you allow it to. If you don't just crack the bottle open and enjoy it straight away.
Yeah, that's
lovely.
Honestly, that's singing in my mouth.
Yeah,
I'm actually smiling. That's
much,
good.
Definitely, yeah.
That's nice wine.
A very complex wine, and still longevity. Yeah,
because we're gonna head out after this. They've got a fish and chip upstairs. Like they make fish and chips, and they make wood-fired pizzas. So you'll see on our socials and on our YouTube, we'll have some overlays of us having some wood-fired pizzas. But I'm thinking right now, like I'm thinking there's a seat out there, which we're probably now showing on screen. I'm thinking of us with our partners having a wood-fired pizza and this wine, that hazards range.
Definitely.
And that's making me feel really good.
And I think the resolution will not stay behind. I think it's also showing pretty well. But, yeah.
I'm sure we'll get through the hazards, and then I'm like, we'll go back to the resolution, and then we'll probably have the Pinot Syrah, and then we'll be like, should we just go back to the Chardonnay?
I think they are worst places in the world to...
This is a work trip, though, and we are incredibly professional. And I don't want anybody in the comments saying any different.
That's it.
Carlos, we need to concentrate on just Pinot Syrah.
Pinot Syrah, yeah, interesting.
I honestly have never heard of it.
It's an interesting combination. I've seen a few, and apparently it was really common in the Yarra Valley, I mean in Victoria, for example, years and years and years ago, and now he's having a comeback. So Yarra Valley is one of those, for example, in one of my favorite wineries in Victoria, or in Australia, that does that. So Santa Croix is doing really well with it. Pinot Noir Syrah. And you bring the red fresh fruits, the lifted acidity, the prettiness, the smoothness of a Syrah, of a Pinot Noir, and then the black peppery, the spiciness of a Syrah, and a little bit more body, a little bit more texture. What about palate?
Yeah, definitely taste the Shiraz. Syrah, sorry, my apologies.
Yeah, it is. Definitely more the old world style of Syrah. A little bit more fruity, fresh, more elegant.
It does. It's 2021. It definitely feels like it could go much longer in the bottle.
Definitely, yeah. Oh, yeah, 100%.
That's our time for this episode of Got Somme. But we are about to cut to 20 minutes in the future when our partners arrive here, and we're going to get them to have small sips of a couple of these glasses, and we'll see what their thoughts are. So stick around. All right, as promised, this is Emily, my partner. I say partner because we're neither engaged nor girlfriend, boyfriend, because we have a child. Emily's going to try a sip of each wine. We'll just tell her the wine style. You're not going to come in with any bias, even though you love Chardonnay and Pinot. And you're just going to tell us, out of the 6, what is your favorite? All right?
Okay.
Start it off with a sparkling.
Riesling, Chardonnay, that's really nice. I'm going to hold on to this. I'll put this over here for later. Pinot Noir. Pinot Noir, number 2. Pinot and Shiraz. Syrah.
All right, out of the 6, what's your favourite?
Of course, the Chardonnay. That was really nice. The Pinots are nice too.
Hello, guys. He's Carlos and Song Jong, so my partner. Today we are at Devil's Corner tasting some wines, and we have me and Angus, we just finished the podcast, but now we want the ladies to pick their favorite out of the winery. So over to you, darling.
Okay, hello, I'm Song Jung. So my favorite one is the middle, Riesling, and this one, because this one have more aromatic, and this one have more fruity, mild, and detailed. Nice to meet you.